Popular stripper brutally kills her baby daddy in front of police just because he. Hey, please come here, man. Then, his final words, she hit me in the head with a metal thing and then shot me. These were the last words of 29-year-old Damonte Smith, recorded on police bodycam as he stumbled out of a Lithonia, Georgia home. Blood soaked his shirt as he locked eyes with the officers in the yard, the same officers who had been there just minutes before the attack. Inside the house, the 911 dispatcher heard Quenisha Johnson's voice saying, "Bye." Not a scream. Not a cry for help. Just. Bye. Like she was ending a call, not a life. This wasn't a hidden crime. This wasn't a case where help arrived too late. This was murder, with police already on the scene. Officers stood just feet away as Johnson, a mother of 3, executed her boyfriend, with her own children inside the house. How did this happen? How could a man die while police were already there? That morning, officers had responded to Johnson's call. She wanted an escort home because she claimed she was afraid of Smith after coming back late from a night out. She had left him watching her kids. The police talked to both of them. They even told Johnson to put her gun in the car. Then, they made a deadly mistake. They let both of them go back inside together. What happened next exposed a chilling truth about domestic violence and police failures. Bodycam footage, 911 calls, and court records later showed Johnson didn't just get her gun, she also grabbed a metal tire iron from her car. She smashed Smith in the head, then shot him, all while officers stood outside, clueless about the horror happening just steps away. But the most disturbing part? Johnson told her 8-year-old daughter to call 911 and lie, saying Smith had hit her, twisting the story as she planned his murder. This case leaves us with urgent questions. What do you think went wrong? Could this have been prevented? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more shocking true crime stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. This tragedy shows the devastating ripple effects when protective systems collapse at the very moment they're needed most. It compels us to confront uncomfortable realities about what happens when desperate calls for help get inadequate responses, when clear threats aren't treated with appropriate seriousness, and when established safety procedures completely break down. For Damonte Smith, these systemic failures cost him his life. For Quenisha Johnson, they resulted in a 20-year prison sentence. And for 3 innocent children caught in the crossfire, they created emotional scars that may never fully heal. To truly understand how this horror unfolded, we must examine the complex lives that collided that morning. The night before the shooting revealed telling details about their relationship. Smith had stayed home caring for Johnson's 3 children while she went out with friends. His repeated attempts to contact her during her prolonged absence, the phone calls, the messages to her family, showed both genuine concern and growing frustration. Those who knew him described a complicated man who, despite his flaws and legal troubles, demonstrated real care for those in his life. Quenisha Johnson, then 30, was a mother managing a household filled with tension. Documents reveal a relationship marked by frequent arguments and escalating conflicts. Her history with local law enforcement wasn't new. She'd contacted police multiple times about domestic situations. That morning, her decision to request a police escort home, ostensibly fearing Smith's reaction to her late return, would set in motion the final tragic sequence of events. The relationship between Johnson and Smith followed the painful rhythm seen in so many domestic disputes, a cycle of cooperation and conflict that kept repeating itself. There were moments of stability, like when Smith cared for Johnson's children, but these were always followed by explosive arguments that sometimes required police intervention. Official records showed Smith's prior domestic violence convictions, documenting a pattern of volatile behavior that would later become crucial to Johnson's self-defense argument. Yet the investigation uncovered a damning contradiction. Despite Johnson's claims of fear, she admitted during questioning that Smith hadn't actually physically attacked her that fateful day. This admission would significantly weaken her legal defense. The police had been to their home multiple times before, each visit representing a missed opportunity to prevent the coming tragedy. Like so many domestic cases, these interventions provided only temporary calm rather than any real solution. November 27 wasn't the first time Johnson had called police for protection from Smith. Her repeated 911 calls during arguments revealed both the ongoing turmoil in their relationship and her attempts to use official channels for safety. But the system's response, while well-intentioned, ultimately failed to stop the unthinkable from happening. He was more than just what happened that day, a family member would later testify in court. Those who knew Smith stressed that his identity extended far beyond his criminal record or the violent circumstances of his death. Meanwhile, Johnson's supporters highlighted the impossible situation she'd been in, arguing that while her actions were extreme, they came after exhausting every official avenue for protection, avenues that had ultimately failed them both. The relationship between Johnson and Smith had become a ticking time bomb. Johnson's repeated 911 calls painted a portrait of a woman trapped in a system that kept handing her band-aids when she needed a lifeline. The forensic evidence painted a vivid picture. Blood spatter confirmed Smith was struck with a blunt object before being shot, exactly as he described in his final moments. The medical examiner's report detailed brutal head trauma from the tire iron and a fatal gunshot wound. As detectives pieced together witness statements, physical evidence, and audio recordings, the case against Johnson grew rock solid. What started as a routine domestic dispute call spiraled into a full-blown homicide investigation. Smith's own words, recorded by the very officers who couldn't save him, became the cornerstone for seeking justice. When Quenisha Johnson's case hit the courtroom, prosecutors unleashed a multi-count indictment reflecting the case's gravity: malice murder, voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault with family violence specifications, third-degree cruelty to children, and possession of a firearm during a felony. The trial became a battle of two starkly different stories about that fateful November morning. Prosecutors wove a compelling case around hard evidence that dismantled Johnson's claims. At the heart of their argument was body camera footage capturing Smith's haunting final words: "She hit me in the head with a metal thing and then shot me." This dying declaration carried immense weight, as courts view such statements as highly trustworthy. Forensic experts backed it up, testifying that blood pattern analysis aligned perfectly with Smith's account of being struck with the tire iron before the gunshot. The medical examiner's report gripped the courtroom, laying bare the brutal head trauma from the tire iron and the fatal gunshot wound, confirming the attack's savage two-step nature. These chilling forensic details gave jurors hard science to back the prosecution's timeline. Then came the 911 recordings, a gut punch that revealed two damning truths. Johnson coaching her child to lie about an assault and her eerie, repeated, "by" after the shooting. Prosecutors argued these audio clips exposed cold calculation, not fear, showing Johnson was spinning a false story before the violence even erupted. Johnson's defense team fought back, painting a picture of a woman trapped in a cycle of domestic abuse. They pointed to her past 911 calls, begging for protection from Smith's alleged aggression. Her lawyers stressed that Johnson had pleaded for a police escort that morning, driven by terror, framing her actions as the desperate climax of constant fear, not a planned attack. The defense called it a tragedy, a stark example of what happens when the system fails to shield victims of domestic violence. After intense deliberations, the jury delivered a mixed verdict. They cleared Johnson of malice murder, rejecting the idea that she had planned to kill Smith from the start. But they found her guilty of voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, and cruelty to children, concluding her actions went far beyond legitimate self-defense. During sentencing, the judge handed down a complex punishment, 20 years total, with 5 years behind bars, 5 years of house arrest, and 10 years of probation, reflecting the case's tangled mix of intent and circumstance. The judge's sentence struck a careful balance, recognizing the gravity of ending a life while wrestling with the messy circumstances of the case. In explaining the ruling, the judge weighed both sides: the ugly history of domestic tension between Johnson and Smith, and the undeniable fact that Johnson's actions crossed the line far beyond what Georgia law allows for self-defense. The evidence, the judge declared, painted a clear picture of choices that went too far. The sentence sparked a firestorm of reactions. Smith's family seethed, feeling the punishment was too light for stealing their loved one's life. Through tearful victim impact statements, they painted Smith as a flawed but devoted father who didn't deserve such a brutal end. He was working hard to start fresh, one relative said, voice breaking, and now his kids are left to grow up without him. This case leaves us grappling with tough questions about justice, self-defense, and the ripple effects of violence. What are your thoughts on how the court balanced these complex issues? Share your perspective below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.